The research is clear. Reading to young children is extremely important. What is the role of read-alouds in pre-K through grade 1?
With young children, the research is very, very clear that reading to kids builds their language. They learn words. They learn the meanings of words. They definitely gain that. But I think there are other benefits as well. So the research is very clear that it builds language.
One of my areas of work around teacher read-alouds is to not only focus on the pictures, but to pay attention to the words. And I don't mean read the words when you're in pre-K or transitional kindergarten. What I mean is, let's notice like dialogue marks, quote marks. Let's notice when the author made a word bigger versus a word smaller, when they play with the font type. Let's ask them questions about what's happening with the text, not just the pictures. Read-alouds are one of the tools that teachers have to help students think about print. So they model their thinking. They ask themselves questions. They model fluent reading. They model inquiry, like what do I want this author to tell me, what do I think this author is going to tell me. They model that we interact with text, that we enjoy them, we learn from them. Read-alouds are one way that we invite students into the literate life. We share with them our own thinking and our own reading experiences.
They might learn things like that you don't use the picture to read the text, that you actually read the words. I remember when I was a young teacher myself and I wasn't aware that kids thought the pictures were telling the story and that adults were sort of making up the stories. And when I first learned about that, I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. I went home to my own daughter and started playing with that, asking her some questions, and sure enough, she had no idea. She thought I was just making up the story. And she was fascinated by the fact that it was print. And so from then on, what she would do is when I would read, she'd put her hand on the page in various places trying to stop me to see if she could figure out where I was reading. So it became kind of a game. But so they can pick up some of those kinds of things. I would argue that there are some other kind of benefits to it. Obviously expose kids to content. Yeah. You can learn a lot of information about your world that odds are an adult wouldn't just talk to kids about. I think it sets a tone in a classroom. As a first grade teacher, I read to kids every single day. I taught first grade. I didn't manage it, but I know another great teacher who he would always read to the children when they'd come in to the classroom and when they would leave the classroom, so that they would always see school as a special place that was, centered around books. And I know with my own children, I still, they're grown-up ladies now, but a big part of our relationship came from those hours that I spent reading with them and holding them in that way. Yeah. And I think that it does create relationships among adults and kids that we want to have. So yeah, there's some real reading skills, but I think there's some real social, emotional ones as well.
For the early learners, they need to know how to ask questions. When they're listening to a text read or a discussion, even at the dinner table, they need to be able to ask questions that remain on topic, but that bring in what they're thinking about. That will help them attend to text as they learn to read on their own.